Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of the Jason Buff Podcast. It's that time of the year again. You know, that time where there's love in the air and romance everywhere. Couples showing their affections for each other, telling each other how much they truly love and appreciate each other. Aw, that's sweet, isn't it? That's cute, right? Nah, fuck all that bullshit. I don't want to see that shit. Get the fuck out of here. Motherfuck Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day can eat a dick. Yes, that's right, folks. I'm gonna spend this entire episode just bashing Valentine's Day. And I'm gonna talk about some other stuff too. I'm gonna talk about the new WrestleMania main event. And then, of course, I'm going to talk about video games. I mean, what else is there to talk about? Got to talk about video games. All right, man, let's get right into it, man. Fuck all this Valentine's Day shit. It's the most annoying holiday of the year. Just, I hate it. Everywhere you go, you see fucking boxes of candy and love cards, those fucking Hallmark cards and shit. People outside passing cards to each other. Will you be my Valentine? All that bullshit. Ugh. It's fucking lame. Then you see like all these couples outside like wearing matching outfits and stuff. That's so fucking corny. Like at first I thought it was just like a white people thing, but then I see people in the hood doing that shit too. Like, saw a dude wearing a Michael Jordan jersey and he was wearing some Air Jordans. And then his wife had on the same outfit. That was so fucking corny. Fuck Valentine's Day. What's the point of it? To brag about your spouse out in public and be like, look, I got a girlfriend. I got a boyfriend and you don't. Ha ha ha. Fuck you. You think you're better than me? Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Couples be getting on my nerves with that shit. Showing their affections out in public. They be like, I love you, baby. I love you, baby boo. I love you too, Poppy. Really? You're gonna do that out in public? Get a room with that shit. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see you out in public making a porno. It's gross. You're not even in shape. You're fat. Fuck out of here. So fuck Valentine's Day. Fuck all those red hearts. My heart is as black as night. I got a black heart because I'm metal as fuck. Yeah, fuck Cupid. Fuck roses. Fuck flowers. And what's with Cupid anyway? Somebody put some clothes on that damn baby. What's wrong with y'all? Having pictures of a naked baby everywhere, just like shooting hearts at people. Put some clothes on that damn kid. And what's going on with this fucking WrestleMania, man? I wanted to see Cody Rhodes in the main event. He was gonna wrestle Roman Reigns, but then they changed it at the last minute. The fucking Rock came out of nowhere and just hijacked the main event. He's like, I gotta save the company. I gotta save WrestleMania. No, you don't, motherfucker. They don't need you, man. Stay retired. Go back to making movies and shit and managing your fucking lame-ass minor league football league. Like, damn, man. I'm sick of this dude. It's like everywhere you go, you see pictures of him, man. I'm sick of The Rock. He doesn't need to wrestle no more. Like, ugh. I mean, he was cool back in the day, like during the Attitude Era. I ain't gonna lie. I was a fan of The Rock, like 99, 2000. Yeah, he was the man. But not anymore, dude. Just fucking make your stupid movies. I'm tired of this fool, man. And then he's like on steroids now. Because that's how he's got to keep up with the rest of the dudes. Because like back in the day, like The Rock, he was kind of like a little bit on the chubby side. Now he's like shredded and ripped as fuck. And he's like in his 50s. Come on now. You're on steroids, bro. Everybody knows it. But yeah, man. The Rock taking over the main event at WrestleMania. That's worse than Hulk Hogan hijacking the main event at WrestleMania 9. You remember that one? The main event was Bret Hart defending his belt against Yokozuna. And then Yokozuna, he beat Bret Hart. Then out of nowhere, Hulk Hogan showed up and Yokozuna was like, come on in the ring, let's fight. And Hogan came in, beat up Yokozuna, got the 1, 2, 3 and took the belt. And they didn't even have a fucking referee to do the count. It was fucking Jimmy Hart that did the 1, 2, 3. And then Hulk Hogan just stole the belt. He stole the show. Just came out of nowhere and just, ugh. That was one of the worst WrestleManias ever. Now the same thing is happening with The Rock. Like, bro, give these young wrestlers a chance to shine. Let Cody Rhodes do his thing, man. He's like the hottest wrestler out there right now. One of the hottest. Let him have his moment, you know? Let the young guys have their moment, bro. Shit's annoying. All the old heads want to stay in power. It's like the same thing with all these presidential candidates. They're old as fuck now. I'm not going to talk about that. Alright, I'm going to talk about what else is going on. Been playing a lot of video games lately. Hella video games. Last week I beat Double Dragon 4, finally. That game was hard as fuck. It's like with Double Dragon 4, they went back to the old style, like the 8-bit NES style. But what made this game tough as fuck was like, they added in a bunch of enemies, like a bunch of dudes just ambush you all at once. It'd be like 20 dudes jumping on you. Like the old NES games with the Double Dragon 8-bit shit, it was only like 2 guys at a time that you would fight. This one is like twice as many, thrice as many, you know, just way more dudes. And they don't let you save your progress. It was like 12 levels to it. That's even more intense, you know. It was like with the NES Double Dragon games, it would only be like 7 stages. On this one, it was 12, and you can't save it. But they had like a secret you could put into the game. It's like if you highlight the menu, you can select the stages. Like the last stage that you finished, you can go back to that one, start where you left off, and then move on. So it was like I made it all the way up to 11. I made it up to level 9 or something, then I died. I thought it was over until I looked online. It was like a cheat, so I was able to go back to level 8 and finish the game. It's annoying that they didn't let me start out on level 9. I had to go back and do level 8 all over again. Alright, so anyways, yeah, I beat that game. And then I went back and beat the original Double Dragon on the NES. I got the Retro Brawler collection on the Switch. It comes with 3 Double Dragon games and a bunch of Kunio games. They want $40 for that shit. I bought it like 4 years ago when it first came out. It was $40, and I just checked online. It's still $40. Like, that shit is overpriced. It really is. $40 for some old ass 8-bit video games. I love 8-bit video games, don't get me wrong, but they're not worth $40. I mean, yeah, they had like some extra shit on there, like some games that were never released in America. Like they had like Kunio Soccer, Kunio Hockey, Kunio Basketball. Those were actually surprisingly the best games in that collection. Alright, so yeah, I beat Double Dragon, the original one. That game was hard as fuck too. I was stuck on that game for a long time. I don't know why. It was like, because I would beat up this ugly ass bald headed dude named Bobo. And then I thought, okay, after I beat him, I just keep going, because the way a Bobo comes out is like he just like smashes through a cave. It's like you're just walking in this field, there's like a cave, and then he just comes smashing through, and then you fight him. You actually fight 2 of them. 2 of Bobos. I thought you were supposed to keep going in the grass, but those motherfuckers are tricky. They tricked the shit out of me. They didn't even do anything. It was like a maze. I went back, had to repeat everything I did all over again. They didn't tell me you had to go in the cave. I didn't find out till I looked it up on YouTube. So after you knock out a Bobo, you gotta walk through the cave. I didn't know that. They should have had like an arrow flashing or something, like go in this direction. Nobody told me that. Alright, so yeah, I finally made it through the cave. Then it was like some obstacle courses. They was tough as shit. It was like pieces of the cave just falling down. You had to watch out for sharp shrapnel. So I managed to avoid that. Then I fought some other dudes. Then made my way up to the castle. The boss at the end of the game was weird. It was Billy Lee's own brother, Jimmy. Like, what the fuck? Billy Lee's fighting Jimmy Lee? This makes no sense. Like, because the NES game's supposed to be like a port of the arcade game. Like, the arcade game was like 16-bit. The NES game's 8-bit. So it's like a downgraded port of that game. So it's kind of like a remake almost. But in the arcade game, you don't fight Billy Lee at the end. I keep getting them fucking brothers mixed up. One of them wears red, the other wears blue. It's Billy and Jimmy Lee. But anyways, you're not supposed to fight your own brother like that. That's not how it played out in the original game, but that's how it played out on the NES game. Alright, so after I beat that, then I was on the PlayStation store and I was looking around. Well, the reason I was on there anyway, because I had to re-download Double Dragon 4, because like I said, I was stuck on that game for a long time, so I got frustrated and deleted it. I was pissed off. I was like, fuck this game. So one day I was like, I'm going to re-download this game and I'm going to fucking beat it. So while I was re-downloading Double Dragon 4, I saw that they released some new Double Dragon games on there. But they weren't really new. They were ports of old Double Dragon games. It was like Double Dragon games that I was missing from my collection, because I got most of them. So they had Super Double Dragon on there. That was originally released on the Super Nintendo in 92. It was on sale for $7, so I had to get that game. I had to. Because that was like one of the like biggest beat 'em up games that I was missing from my collection. That was like one of the most sought after beat 'em ups I wanted. So I downloaded Super Double Dragon, and I was very disappointed. Because it was like, from the screenshots, it looked just like Streets of Rage. So I thought it was going to have like that whole Streets of Rage vibe to it, but it didn't. It had the same Double Dragon music playing. And it was like, on this game, they got real cheap. It's like the graphics are like 16-bit, but there's no story at all. Like, how the fuck you not going to have a plot in the game? Like, there's no cutscenes at all in the game. No story, no plot, no dialogue, nothing. It's just fucking Billy Lee going through all these stages, just beating up dudes. But there's no story. Like, how you just gonna beat up dudes with no plot? Like, how the fuck you gonna do that? So he's just randomly just going through different countries, just beating up dudes, and there's no story. I can't get with that. So yeah, I managed to beat that game, but I was greatly disappointed. Usually, when you beat one of these games, you're rewarded with a little cutscene. Something cool happens. On this particular game, nothing happened. I beat the game, boom, end credits, that's all. Just the credits rolling, that's all I got. No happy ending, nothing. Not even a bad ending. With some of them old games, they got bad endings, like if you didn't collect all the certain items, if you didn't finish everything on time, if you died a few times and shit like that, they'll just give you a bad, disappointing ending. That would have been better than just the fucking credits. Like, damn, man, come on, bro. No fucking cutscenes at all, man. Just credits. Oh, man. I've never been so disappointed before in my life playing a beat 'em up. Alright, so after I beat Super Double Dragon. Then I bought Double Dragon Advance. See, Double Dragon Advance was a remake of the original arcade Double Dragon game. It was released on the Game Boy Advance back in the day. I had a Game Boy Advance back in the day, but I didn't have Double Dragon. I didn't even know Double Dragon was released on the Game Boy Advance back then. So yeah, I bought that game. That game was tough as fuck. It surprised me. That was actually the toughest Double Dragon game I played. I managed to beat it too. But in that game, at least they had fucking cutscenes and a story. I got a happy ending on that game. Yeah. Okay, then also lately, I've gone back to VR, virtual reality. Like, I remember buying that on the PlayStation 4, like, when it first came out. It was like a cool gimmick at first, but then I kind of just forgot about it. Well, also, I got motion sickness a lot from doing the VR. Like, if you put on that virtual reality headset, if you're moving real fast, like if you're doing something wild in VR, you're going to feel it. Like if you go on a roller coaster in a virtual reality game, you're going to feel it. It's going to feel like the real thing. Or if you're in a car going like 80 miles per hour, or if you're jogging. Dude, I got fucking motion sickness riding a horse in VR. Like riding a slow ass horse. Like that's how realistic it is. I wasn't doing nothing in particular, you know. It was like some kind of rodeo game. I'm just riding on a horse. Like the horse is just walking at regular speed, at a regular pace, and I got sick off that. Like that's how accurate these VR games are. So I got back to playing VR. I re-downloaded a bunch of games that I deleted because I was pissed off the first time around. Yeah, it was like this one game I got into. It was like, actually it came with the VR set. It was like this collection of games. I forgot what it was called. PlayStation VR Universe. There was like this one space game. It kind of felt like the movie Alien, where you're just like, you know, wearing one of those giant robot suits and you're in space just like shooting aliens. That's like basically the plot of the movie Aliens. So yeah, I was doing that, but I was jumping around and it was like, I was going in all directions, upside down, diagonal, left and right. Dude, I felt that shit. Like, played that shit for like 20 minutes. I had to take it off. It was like, ooh, my stomach ain't feeling good. My stomach feels upside down right now. I'm about to throw up. And then there was I got this boxing game in VR. It's called Creed. If you've seen the movie Creed, you know what I'm talking about. You know, the Rocky spinoff. They made that into a game. They put all the characters in there, like Rocky and Drago and Mr. T. Mr. T is actually the toughest dude in that game. Also my favorite character to pick, too. I just be knocking motherfuckers out with that dude. But, yeah, another thing about VR, it's safer to play VR, like, if you're sitting down. Like, you don't want to be standing up, moving around in VR. That shit's too dangerous. Like, yeah, like I said, I was playing Creed, but you have to stand up when you're playing that game. And when I'm standing up, like, I just be smashing stuff. I just accidentally just be bumping into shit because I be throwing punches. And, you know, I got the VR set on, so I can't see what's going on outside of the VR set. You know, because it's like, okay, I'm trying to fight this dude. I'm trying to knock out Drago in this game. But outside of the VR set, I can't see what's going on, so I'm bumping into shit. I threw a punch. I threw a right hook at Drago, and I accidentally knocked over the lamp. There was like a lamp I had in my den, you know, to keep the lights on so it won't be dark. I accidentally knocked that over. I almost broke the damn lamp from playing a fucking boxing game. Then I knocked over some water bottles. We had like a cooler with some bottled water on top of it. I knocked that over. I made a big mess. It happens. Yeah, if you're gonna do VR, make sure you have a lot of space. Like you don't want to be playing VR games like in a tiny room like your bedroom and you got like all this junk in the way. Like you're gonna bump into stuff and you might accidentally fall down and trip. So be careful if you're gonna do VR, like for real. I prefer to just play games where I sit down. But then I also hate that those motion sticks they give you, like you gotta use those. Like I prefer to just use a regular controller when I'm doing VR. God damn, I'll talk about video games a lot. Damn. Hey, I said I would, and I did. Damn, I just went off topic on that one. Alright, yeah. Fuck Valentine's Day. It sucks ass. You know, over in Asian countries, they have this thing called White Day. It's like the opposite of Valentine's Day. It's like the male version of Valentine's Day. It's like on White Day, the women buy gifts for the men instead of Valentine's Day, where the men buy gifts for the women. In the Asian countries, it's the opposite. I wish I was living over there. I wish they celebrated White Day over here. Have women buying me gifts. I probably wouldn't get shit. Be lucky to get a Valentine's Day card. A White Day card, whatever. If I do receive gifts from chicks, it's ugly chicks. It ain't no hot chicks. It be chicks ugly as hell. Yeah. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything for now. Alright, I'm about to go eat a burger, then I'm heading over to the gym. I gotta get my swole on. I went to Checkers like right before I did this episode. About to eat a big Buford. It's got cheese on it and bacon and mayonnaise. Checkers is underrated. Y'all need to start eating at Checkers. It's a good ass restaurant. Yeah. I mean, it's not as good as Sonic's, but they're good. They're just underrated. Alright, folks, I gotta go. Peace out. See you next time. Whenever.